Cadenzas are usually the most epic part of concertos. When the cadenza arrives, the orchestra stops playing, your heart is pounding, and you just feel that energy. You either think it's my time to shine, or oh f***. And that of course depends on how much you've practiced. So in this video we're gonna look at the 5 most epic piano cadenzas of all time and see what exactly makes them epic. And by the end of the video you'll discover the most jaw-dropping, breathtaking, earth-shaking moment in the history of piano music. But first let's start with an obvious choice and let's see why it's so powerful. This massive beast has been the source of inspiration for countless stories, documentaries, videos, and even movies. It has inspired millions of pianists to get better and to push their limits in order to be able to play it someday. Playing this cadenza is like climbing Mount Everest, and you'll see why in a second. Let's have a look at the 4 things that make the build-up epic. First of all, it uses the most effective tension-building resource there is in music: repetition. It keeps using the same 2-note motif for 3 minutes straight. And it keeps insisting and insisting and insisting more. But it's not just mindless insistence. With each repetition, we keep adding more and more notes, opening up the range in both hands and using beefier chords with more notes inside. The harmony also contributes to the build-up because of what's called a dominant pedal note. That A note that we can see down here for the whole cadenza and grabs your soul and refuses to let go. And the chords also get more and more dissonant against that pedal note, suffocating you. By the way, in a moment you'll hear a piece from 200 years earlier that uses this exact same trick. And the melody also makes everything more and more powerful by just progressively going up. Higher notes always have a higher emotional load. Then we arrive at what looks like a climax. This first combination takes the melody that we heard at the very beginning of the concerto and evolves it using the widest range available that you can play with 2 hands. Well, almost. And you thought this was the climax, but you were wrong, my friend. We still have room to make the texture even wider and more impressive. Look, another crescendo. And this is the final culmination. It took us 4 minutes of unbearable, superhuman effort to arrive here. We are at the top of the world, and now, guess what? A false step, and we stumble and chaotically roll down the whole mountain for 10 endless seconds. And now it's time to rebuild from here for the rest of the movement. Let's continue with the next one. Please don't give me hate for this, I know it's not exactly a piano cadenza, but come on, everyone plays Bach on the piano these days, even this piece. And since it's probably the first cadenza ever written for a keyboard instrument, and being so damn epic, it definitely deserves a mention. Anyway, it starts quite nice and polite, repeating the main theme and adding a bit of counterpoint. But halfway through, things start to get crazy. And it all starts with this note. Remember this note from Rachmaninoff? Brandenburg 5 is also in D, so the pedal dominant is also an A. And we've got some repetition too. And now everything bursts out in an explosion of scales. It's your time to show off how many hours you've practiced. And now again the low A. Again the repetitions. Again the dissonant chords, and all the rest that we've seen in Rachmaninoff as well. And this is like heavy metal from 300 years ago. And finally the dominant pedal is broken. And in an epic turnaround, the orchestra picks up the initial theme again. Let's continue with the next one. Let's take a short break now from these monumental, colossal cadenzas, and let's have a look at something I recently discovered and I'm dying to show you. Mozart concertos are usually the opposite to epic. They are much easier to play than romantic concertos, they are easy and enjoyable for the listener, and they usually have cadenzas with a similar vibe. Now, Mozart has 27 piano concertos, and for many of them he actually didn't write the cadenzas down. Instead, he just scribbled cadenza here, and improvise something on the spot. And his Concerto 21 is one of those for which he didn't write a cadenza, so the pianist should compose or improvise one. And here comes this absolute legend, Fazil Say. You probably know him because of his jazzy Turkish march, or his Paganini variations. The guy adds his own unique touch to everything he plays. So one day he's playing Mozart 21 as a soloist, the cadenza arrives, and it's his time to shine. And this is what the guy does. When I was learning this concerto, my teacher insisted that the cadenza I wrote should be in style. Don't go overboard, keep the range constrained, because in case you didn't know, the range at the time was much narrower than the actual piano, and all of that. And this guy just goes... And all those wrong notes, pure comedy gold. Like he's missing them on purpose, but they still sound good. Oh, and you have to watch the whole cadenza. Look at his faces and his gestures. This is important. I've seen a lot of musicians try to be funny through things like calculated phrasing or articulation, but fun is something that can't be practiced. Anyone can play fast, anyone can play dreamy or dramatic or tremendous, but not everyone can be fun or happy. That's something you either have it inside you or you don't. And this guy definitely has it. Every time I hear him play, I can't help but smile and feel good. He's definitely one of a kind. Let's continue. Let's see what makes this cadenza so epic. Honestly, the whole concerto is epic, but the cadenza is the part where the pianist really shines. It's another build-up from the bottom of the mountain using, guess what? A dominant pedal, repetitions, grow in density, and going higher every time. Guys, if any of you ever needs to compose a cadenza for any reason, don't overthink it. Just follow those easy steps and it's gonna be awesome. After this build-up, here comes my favorite moment. Question: what is something that happens in nature and can be very, very frightening? You guessed it right, it's thunderbolts and lightning. And Grieg knew that way before Freddie Mercury. And for the climax of his cadenza, the guy composes a storm. When I play those high chords, I imagine flashes of lightning ripping through the sky. And after the lightning, the thunder. And after the storm, then it just goes crazy with plenty of notes over the second theme. Then calms down and prepares the entrance of the orchestra. And now the moment you were waiting for. Let me tell you a story. Prokofiev had a very close friend, let's call him Max. Max was a great pianist who admired Prokofiev and whom Prokofiev loved as his brother. But Max was a very troubled person, fighting against depression and self-destructive thoughts, and one day he took a drastic decision to put an end to it. And when he did, his goodbye letter was dedicated to Prokofiev, so you can just imagine how close they were. Prokofiev composed this second concerto in memory of Max, and it's 40 minutes of pure desperation and helplessness and grief, a cry of sadness for his lost friend. Coming back to the music, I want you to listen to a few little melodies and save them in your head for a second. They are the pillars of this first movement. The first one is very simple and serves as the introduction. Let's call it the monster. The monster appears very few times in this first movement, but every time it appears, it's an inflection point. The second one is the first few notes of the piano part. Pay attention to the first 3 notes because they are key. Let's call it the trampling, because it kind of jumps. And the third one is what we call the staircase. This is the staircase going up. And finally we have the staircase going down. Okay, we are ready for the cadenza. It starts calm, just like the piece begins. But it doesn't take long until we start getting mad, insisting on the main melodies and distorting them to oblivion until we just lose our mind and start smashing dissonant chords everywhere. And we're not even halfway through. After this insane build-up, Prokofiev writes Colossale. Something colossal is something so big, so enormous and overwhelming that it inspires fear. So there's no other option. The pianist here has to play so loud, so aggressive and so furiously that the audience needs to feel scared. And now listen to this. In the next few bars, things get even faster and we have a few extra layers. This part is just undescribable. And the last page is just insanity. This moment is especially powerful because you've been listening to only one instrument playing at full power for 5 minutes, so your brain thinks that this is just as loud as it gets. And suddenly the brass starts blasting away and it's an absolute sensory overload. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content coming, because I upload new videos every Friday. That's all for today, and see you next week.